Today, we're plunging into something that seems really ordinary, the stuff of everyday life, just conversations, practical interactions.
Exactly. But we're not just listening on the surface. We're trying to find those hidden layers.
Right. We've gathered a bunch of conversational examples, the kind originally maybe for English practice.
Yeah, but they are just packed with surprising details. It covers, everything from health chats to sorting out who does the ironing or making plans for the weekend.
So our mission here is to kind of bypass that surface level. We want to pull out the really useful bits, the language people actually use, the sort of unwritten rules for getting along, and those little insights that show how people really live and connect.
Consider it maybe a shortcut, a fast track to understanding how daily life, works just by looking at these conversations.
And you'll see the range is pretty wide. We've got personal health, shopping trips, social stuff, even work calls.
Yeah, a real mix. So let's dive in.
Okay, let's start with health. It's where a lot of these practical talks happen, right? We found this one scenario in a doctor's office, a follow-up appointment for a broken bone.
Right, this is Robert Sand, 30 years old. He's seeing his doctor, Miss Emily. Room 202, 10 a.m. Very specific details.
And the good news, medically speaking,
the bone's healing fine, expected to be fully recovered in a week or two. Pretty straightforward.
But what caught my eye was Robert's reaction. He's quoted as being fed up with his crutch, just because it's inconvenient.
Yeah, and that simple phrase, fed up, it says so much, doesn't it? It highlights that tension we all feel during recovery. Your body needs time, needs help like a crutch, but you just want things back to normal now. You want independence.
It's like this little daily drama. The doctor's saying, look, this helps you heal properly, but Robert's feeling the drag of it every single minute.
Exactly. Patience versus convenience. The healing process versus immediate comfort. It shows how something meant to help, like a crutch, and actually become a source of real frustration in day-to-day life.
And the next steps were pretty standard, too.
Yep. New medicines prescribed and a follow-up check scheduled for the next week. Shows that structured side of healthcare.
Okay, but then if we switch gears within health, you found another conversation about pregnancy symptoms that was quite different.
Oh, yeah. Fascinatingly different. This dialogue describes stomach ache and high fever as normal symptoms of pregnancy.
Wait, hang on. Stomach ache and high fever as normal for pregnancy. That doesn't sound right, does it? Usually those are signs something's wrong.
Precisely. That's what makes it so interesting. It really hammers home how crucial context is in health. What screams illness in one situation might be interpreted totally differently, like during pregnancy, because the body's baseline has shifted.
So it really challenges our automatic assumptions about what normal symptoms even mean.
Definitely. Okay, so moving from dealing with specific conditions like broken bones or pregnancy, let's talk about being proactive. Personal well-being goals. There's a really compelling story about weight loss in the sources.
Yes, I remember this one. Someone lost quite a bit of weight.
Yeah, 24 pounds in 6 months, which is significant. And the reason behind it was powerful. They mentioned gaining weight had led to feeling depressed, less confident.
And even afraid of what other people might say or think.
Exactly. That fear of social judgment. It can be a really strong push for making changes.
It really can. And the method wasn't some crazy fad diet either.
No, not at all. It was quite simple, fundamentally. Changing the diet like swapping bread for soup, vegetables, fruit at lunch and dinner, and then adding an hour of walking every day.
Consistency, basically.
That's the key. The takeaway they highlighted was all about patience and just not giving up. Perseverance.
And the result wasn't just physical, was it?
No, that was the crucial part. Their confidence apparently soared. It just reinforces how deeply our physical well-being is tied to our mental and emotional state.
And building on that specific story, there were other conversations offering more general tips for a healthy lifestyle, right?
Yeah, very practical, accessible stuff. For diet, it was things like, eat more fruits and vegetables, drink plenty of water, simple things.
The water thing wasn't just for hydration, though, was it?
No, they mentioned it helps you just feel better overall, which makes sense. Even mild dehydration can affect your mood.
Okay, and for exercise?
The big emphasis was on finding something you actually enjoy. Walking, stretching, swimming, hiking, dancing. Lots of options were mentioned.
Because if you hate it, you won't stick with it.
Exactly. The message was, consistency is key. Try to get some physical activity every day, but don't force yourself to do something you dread. Find your thing.
And importantly, mental health wasn't sidelined.
No, it was treated as just as important as physical health. They suggested things like mindfulness or meditation, Even just taking a few minutes each day to focus on your breath, be present, it helps reduce stress and anxiety.
So if you put the personal story and these general tips together, the insight seems to be that big goals are achievable if you break them down.
Yeah, precisely. One source summed it up nicely. Small changes can add up to big results over time. It's about making those sustainable little tweaks, not trying to overhaul everything overnight.
Makes you think, doesn't it? What's one small, maybe even enjoyable step you could take today for your own well-being?
Good question. Okay, let's shift gears again. Stepping out of health and into, well, the nitty-gritty of daily life. Food, shopping, home stuff.
Right. Food came up in a few ways. There were campus lunch plans.
Yeah, deciding between the cafeteria or sitting by the water fountain. And the reason for the fountain. I love seeing people.
Just that one line tells you so much about the person, doesn't it? It's not just about eating. It's the whole experience, the environment.
Totally. And the food itself was varied. Packed lunches mentioned included sandwiches, salads, apple juice, and kimbap.
Which they noted was Korean food. Nice little cultural marker there.
And then restaurant meals mentioned included roasted cauliflower tacos, specifically noted as based on a Mexican dish, hot pot, beef, chicken.
And ice cream for dessert, naturally.
Of course. What was interesting, too, were the observations about a restaurant. Great service, it was affordable, and conveniently near a company. These are those practical things that sway our choices, beyond just the menu.
Okay, moving on to shopping. We had someone buying a watch.
Yeah, digital watch for her husband. She was looking for a gray one specifically.
And the price points were a factor.
Definitely. There was a $50 latest model, gray, with functions like an alarm. Or a cheaper $30 one, simpler, just date and time.
A classic trade-off. And I liked the little interaction with the seller.
The compliment. You are such a thoughtful wife. Yeah, it shows how even a quick purchase can have that little positive social moment built in.
Then there was a trip to a bookstore.
A newly opened one, offering discounts. The shopper had two goals: cooking books for her mom.
Practical gift.
And novels for herself. Personal pleasure. A common split.
Did they find what they were looking for?
It seems like it. They mentioned seeing a wide range of cookbooks, and even found one they'd personally learned recipes from before, which is a nice connection. And they also found The Great Gatsby.
And the discount was specific too, wasn't it?
Yeah, 20% off if you bought 5 books, any genre. Clever tactic to encourage browsing and maybe picking up a few extra things.
And then there was the supermarket visit, which wasn't really about shopping initially.
No. This one was so relatable. Someone went into a supermarket just to escape the heat. The reason given. At least it has an air conditioner. Been there. You go in for the AC.
Get distracted by the smell of the bakery section.
Think about cake.
But then decide, nah, ice cream is better for the walk home anyway. It just perfectly captures that impulse driven by immediate needs like escaping heat and then sudden desires. It wasn't planned at all.
Okay, shifting from out and about to home life. Buying a house came up.
Yeah, but interestingly, the focus wasn't on the mortgage or the stress. It was about saving up, yes, but then appreciating the feel of the place, describing it as lovely. Noting specific things like a well-organized kitchen layout, minimalist living room decor.
Right, and acknowledging the effort someone put into making it nice. It's about valuing the care and comfort of a space, not just the transaction.
And then the opposite of comfort, sheer panic. Losing keys.
Oh, this was intense. Losing both house and car keys. That immediate wave of, oh no, where are they? Frantically checking the bag, the pockets.
They've all done that frantic pocket pat down.
Totally. And the surprising twist.
They were found in the wallet.
Even though the person insisted they never put keys in their wallet.
What does that tell us? Maybe that under stress, our habits and even our self-knowledge go out the window. We search frantically instead of methodically.
I think so. And the advice given in the source was just perfect in its simplicity. Stay calm and check everything carefully.
It's not just about finding keys, is it? It's about managing panic. Calm lets you think clearly, search rationally. Panic makes you overlook the obvious, even if it's literally right there.
Well put. We also got a little glimpse into household chores and family dynamics.
Yeah, a 22-year-old asking their mom for money to pick up clothes from the laundry. A very common, sort of dependent interaction.
But contrasted with the same person then helping out by ironing a shirt that had a crease because their mom was busy.
So it shows that mix, doesn't it? That blend of sometimes needing help or relying on family and other times stepping up and contributing. It's complex.
These little snippets really paint a rich picture of just domestic life. Okay, let's zoom out a bit now and look at the social world. how people interact, make plans, deal with awkwardness, support each other.
Right. Making weekend plans came up. Very specific details involved.
Yeah, like hanging out Saturday night, pick up at 7 p.m. at one person's house, then driving to pick up someone else, Sarah, then heading to a barbecue restaurant.
And the instruction given to one person was simply, just need to stay at home and wait for you. It's not just planning. It's about coordination, logistics, relying on each other to stick to the plan.
And then there were more formal events mentioned too, like attending a big formal party.
But it wasn't just framed as a fun night out, was it?
No, it was explicitly mentioned as an opportunity for networking, a chance to meet successful business people. So social events often have those multiple layers, right? Blending the personal and the potentially professional.
Definitely. The sources also showed people dealing with less pleasant social situations.
Yeah, like someone finding noisy kids annoying. Their solution, head to a quieter place, like a coffee shop.
And they specifically expected people in the coffee shop to be more polite, which reveals this underlying assumption we have about different places having different behavioral norms.
Absolutely. And then there was a stronger reaction to bad behavior. Someone named Harry getting drunk and vomiting at a party apparently ruined the mood for everyone.
And the phrase used to describe it.
How disgraceful.
Yeah.
That's not just reporting what happened. It's a clear judgment. It shows the social lines, the expectations for behavior at gatherings, and how quickly violations are condemned.
On a more positive note, supporting friends also featured.
Yes. Someone comforting a friend who'd failed a math exam. The suggestion wasn't just, let's talk, but let's walk along the beach.
Because nature helps. They even noted the sound of the waves is somehow beautiful.
It's a lovely, practical example of offering support through shared experience and connecting with something calming, like nature, to cope with disappointment.
Navigating invitations also showed some social complexity. Someone kept turning down invites to play football.
Yeah, saying they were busy, preferred to study alone.
Yeah.
And they got called a nerd for it.
Classic peer pressure. But there was a counter-argument.
Right. Someone argued that playing football is actually good for studying. It's healthy, improves concentration, reframing it not as a distraction, but as something beneficial to their studies.
And that argument worked.
Apparently.
Yeah.
The person agreed to go this time. It shows how changing the framing, highlighting different benefits can sometimes overcome resistance or perceived conflicts between activities.
Interesting. What about secrets?
That came up too. 2 people were seen holding hands in a park, but they weren't ready to announce they were dating. So they asked a friend to keep it quiet.
A simple request, but it points to those early stages of relationships, the need for privacy before going public.
Yeah. And showing appreciation was nicely captured too. Someone helped a friend move out. Big job.
And the thank you was an offer of dinner at an Italian restaurant.
Nice gesture. But the really powerful part was the helper's response. Call me any day.
Meaning, I'm always here to help. That simple phrase speaks volumes about their friendship, doesn't it?
It really does. And finally, in one conversation, there was this rapid-fire round of family updates.
Oh, yeah, like a whole family saga condensed.
Exactly. Mom retired, opened a flower shop, lovely. Dad's working overtime, feeling tired, relatable stress. Then the brother's company went bankrupt. He got sacked, had no money.
Wow, that's heavy stuff.
But then, the turnaround. He found another good company and was starting next week. It just shows how quickly life can throw major things at you. Retirement, stress, financial crisis, new jobs, and how families share and process these ups and downs together, often very concisely.
It's amazing how much life gets packed into those casual updates.
Right. Okay, let's shift just slightly now, maybe to more formal or service-oriented interactions, things related to work or getting things done.
Okay, there was that flower delivery example.
Yeah, a delivery service calling someone named Mr. Will Byers. They needed to confirm a delivery time, 12 p.m.
But there was a snag. He couldn't receive it at his office then.
And the service didn't deliver on weekends, so a common logistical hurdle.
How was it resolved?
They had to change the delivery address to the Star Company on King Street. And the service confirmed they'd call again just before 12 p.m. to double-check.
It highlights that process, doesn't it? The back and forth needed for successful service delivery, the confirmations. It's all about clear communication.
Absolutely. And speaking of clear communication, one source explicitly talked about the importance of asking someone to speak more slowly if you're not catching what they say.
That's crucial, especially when details matter.
Exactly. The example given was about clarifying a deadline for a finance report. Someone had to ask for it to be repeated.
And the deadline was?
8 p.m. tonight. It's such a simple point, but vital. Don't just nod along or guess if you're unsure about important details like times or deadlines. Ask for clarification. Ask them to repeat it.
It seems obvious, but how often do we maybe not do that? These simple scenarios really show the basics of just effective communication when you need something done.
Totally. Okay, so finally, let's circle back and connect all these observations to, well, the original point of these sources, language learning, and what they reveal about language itself.
Right, because understanding the nuances is key. There was that interesting phrase, "Rod is the logic of fools."
Yeah, and the source explored what that might mean. Suggestions included things like maybe rude people only understand harshness, not subtlety. Or maybe it relates historically to punishing criminals.
It shows that idioms aren't always straightforward, right? They can have layers of meaning or different interpretations.
Definitely. And other phrases we bumped into, like a crease is formed on the cloth.
Meaning it needs ironing. Simple, practical.
Or call me any day.
Always available to help. Speaks to relationship depth.
And how disgraceful.
Expressing strong social disapproval. These aren't just words, they're like cultural shorthand. They pack a lot of meaning or judgment into a few words.
Exactly. We also saw glimpses of education. Getting good grades, A+ in math, A in literature.
And the rewards. A smiling face sticker from the teacher, getting candy, even getting a desired toy car collection reminds you of those simple motivators in school.
And major life choices came up too, like deciding between going straight to university or taking a gap year.
With a warning included about not wasting the gap year, right? Specifically, just sleeping.
Yeah, don't just drift. Instead, there were constructive suggestions. Learn new skills, maybe related to your future major, or travel and discover other cultures.
And the advice was pretty direct. Start thinking from now on. These conversations weren't just passive. They often contained guidance, encouragement, sometimes even a push.
And linking it right back to language learning itself, the sources actually included specific tips.
Oh yeah, like what?
Things like practice English every single day. Watch videos for a week, maybe immerse yourself. Try to actively think and speak in English whenever you can. And listen to lessons and repeat them out loud. That helps listening and speaking skills improve faster.
So it's a good reminder that even materials designed for practical language practice can be full of these broader life lessons and insights.
We've really covered a lot of ground through these everyday chats, haven't we? From dealing with a broken bone and setting health goals.
The little details of buying a watch or losing your keys, navigating social awkwardness, hearing family news.
What feels powerful, I think, is seeing how these exchanges, which seem so mundane on the surface, are actually just loaded with information. Challenges people face, how they solve problems, their emotions, the cultural rules they follow.
Yeah, paying attention to all these little nuances isn't just about getting better at a language. It's kind of about becoming a more tuned-in observer of the world around you.
These sources almost offer a shortcut, a way into understanding the real texture of how people communicate day to day. They show that even the simplest back and forth is like a mini story, full of intention and reaction.
So maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to take away. The next time you're in a conversation, or even just overhearing one, try to listen a bit deeper. Go beyond just the surface words.
Ask yourself, how many tiny stories, how many surprising little insights into people or just practical life are hiding right there?
What unexpected things could you learn about the world just by paying a little closer attention to the everyday talk happening all around you?